moderating. I expect that everyone is probably on. I'll just start the wind up now so that we can get going. So those of you who are here, you know that you are going to be listening to a Zoom forum for the Wilmette Board of Trustees. Welcome, we're delighted that you're here. There is a Q&A spot down at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and ignore it because we'll be ignoring your questions. The intention was that you had opportunities to put the questions in advance. And so I already have in my hand the questions that came earlier from the Wilmette residents and also a few from the League of Women Voters of Wilmette. So you can type them in, but I don't want you to get frustrated and I don't have a way to respond to you during the forum. We've drawn already for the order of speakers, and the candidates have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, 1.5 minutes or perhaps less as we go along to answer each question, and 1 minute to wrap at the end. So we're going to start with candidate Jaya, who will give her 2-minute introduction.
Good morning. Let me start by thanking the League of Women Voters of Wilmette for planning and hosting this forum for all of us. As a member of the League, I have helped with this voter education event many times over the years, and I know it takes a lot of work. So a big thank you to the League members who have made this happen even in virtual pandemic times. And thanks to all my fellow candidates and to all of you for being here. I'm excited to be running for village trustee. I'm a longtime volunteer in our community, first in the schools, and then for the leadership for the successful District 39 referendum a few years ago, and then for the past 10 years for the League of Women Voters. In numerous positions on the League's board, including president, I have gained a deep knowledge of the issues facing our community and the different governing boards that serve it. I've advocated for issues including good governance and transparency, environmental sustainability, gun violence prevention, minimum wage and sick leave, and affordable housing. Much of this advocacy work with community partners has been successful, and it's been inspiring to see some of the changes take hold in our village in recent years. In my opinion, our village is well run by an excellent village staff and many years of strong leadership from our village trustees. But with openings coming up on the board, I'm running for trustee because I think I bring a valuable set of experiences, perspectives, and skills to work together with the rest of the board and serve Wilmette. I have an MBA from Northwestern and a background in construction management and real estate development. And I feel I am well trained to handle the financial issues facing our village as we come out of the pandemic and chart a healthy fiscal future. I understand the issues around economic development and providing the resources to support our current businesses and to attract new ones. And I combine that business background with experience in leadership on social issues that this community is really expressing an interest in, and that will help us to become a stronger, healthier, and more welcoming community for years to come. So I look forward to your questions and having an opportunity to provide you some information on my thoughts on where our village is today and what I would hope to accomplish serving as a trustee.
Thank you. Candidate Dodd.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be rerunning for the village board. I'd like to start by thanking the League, as Kate did, for this wonderful opportunity for all of us to have an opportunity to share our thoughts about why we feel we're good candidates. And I'm sure you're going to hear lots of wonderful things from all the candidates today. I want to also thank all the residents who are here today, and also all the residents who have reached out to me over the past 4 years with your ideas, suggestions, and concerns. I've learned from you, I've listened to you, and I really hope to have the opportunity to serve another 4 years for you. I'm running again because I've loved serving on the board, and I want to continue the work I've started. As trustee, my approach has always been to seek out varying resident opinions and perspectives on issues, and then use a balanced, thoughtful, and open-minded approach to all board decisions, and I hope to continue to do that. I'm proud of the work of our current board. We are in very strong financial standing, even with the pandemic, in the midst of the pandemic. We've continued to maintain our excellence in delivery of core services. We've made very prudent investments in our infrastructure, and we've continued to keep Wilmette a vibrant and welcoming community. I'm also particularly proud of my individual contributions to the board, and I'd like to highlight a few. I'm proud of as chair of the administration committee, the process I led to reshape our Housing and Human Relations Commission that was open, transparent, and collaborative. The result of this was an improved selection process, a more robust communication of vacancies to all residents in the community, which has been very successful, clearly defined goals and purposes of the Housing Commission and the Human Relations Commission, and a diverse and talented group of individuals who have volunteered. I love Wilmette. We have amazing residents and incredible staff working on our behalf. And I feel lucky to live in this community. And I look forward to the opportunity to discuss my ideas today. Thank you.
Candidate Locke.
Good morning, and thank you also to the league and to everyone who's watching today. It's very important that all of you are listening and being willing to participate in your government. I think that's excellent. So thank you for being here today. First, a little bit about me. My name is Brian Locke. I am a resident of Wilmette for the past 5 years. I am an engineer by training. I work in the manufacturing industry. I have for my entire career. I have a lot of experience in management, in budgeting, in capital equipment, in efficiency improvements, cost savings. Those are the kind of things that I do every day. So I think those are things that are going to be very beneficial for me as a board member that will allow me to make a big contribution. As far as my thoughts on the village, obviously, we love living here. We all do, or we wouldn't be here today. I would like to see Wilmette continue to grow and thrive. As many of us do, I do have concerns about the future. We all know that Illinois is challenged as far as population loss. There are financial challenges at state level. Wilmette is well run and it has an excellent financial condition, but it's going to continue to be increasingly challenging to maintain that in the environment that we have today. We are seeing businesses leave. We see lots of vacant stores and storefronts. And that's really the main reason that I'm running for board, because I feel like that's an area that we really need to focus on. We need to focus on attracting businesses to the village and fiscal responsibility. And at the same time, being practical about it and making sure that we maintain our high quality of life here in Wilmette. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barrow.
Good morning. My thanks to the League for hosting this forum and to everyone watching today and participating in the election. This was surely a challenging year for all of us. Our board met that challenge by focusing on village finances, reducing expenses significantly, and by moving forward with critical programs. We also supported our local businesses, including our restaurants. The board's careful financial management, along with substantial reserves, have allowed us to respond to the pandemic without reducing the services that we all expect. We've also taken real steps to improve the quality of life and to make Wilmette a more open and welcoming place. Our boards and commissions have new roles along with highly qualified and engaged members. We've made board recruitment and selection easier, more transparent, and inclusive. The several dozen applicants for the Housing and Human Relations Commissions alone are testament to the new spirit and engagement of our residents. Our board and our residents have accomplished much, but much remains to be done. We're surely not out of the COVID-19 woods. Revenues are challenged with pension obligations and debt increasing. How we address this is the job of our board and is crucial to our future. We don't elect our trustees by district or geography, and if reelected, I'll continue to be independent and continue to serve the interests of the village as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shepherd.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Wilmette as well for everything you do to provide balanced information to our residents, and I'm honored to be here today. So a little background on me. While I'm originally from outside Cleveland, I've lived in the Chicago area for 25 years. My wife, Robin, a high school teacher, and I moved to Wilmette over 15 years ago. We have 2 boys, students at High Crest in the junior high, and a new puppy. My career has been in financial management, ultimately as a managing partner and chief investment officer for a large local investment manager. While there, I was able to get my MBA at the University of Chicago during the evenings, as well as earn my CFA or Chartered Financial Analyst designation. I've been an active member of the community. I've coached a number of my kids' sports teams. I'm a past chairman of the board for the Cancer Wellness Center, and I'm currently a member of the Wilmette Plan Commission. So why am I running? I feel incredibly fortunate to live and raise my kids here with my wife. It's a beautiful community with great schools, great parks, and a village government that works very well. And over time, I've come to understand that the volunteers across the village really help make Wilmette work. And I want to build on that legacy. And I feel my career in financial management is ideal for both embracing the opportunities and addressing the challenges that lie in front of Wilmette. And currently, 2 of the board members with similar expertise are rolling off the board in either April or 2 years. So how will I go about this position if elected? Across the village, we are embarking on a comprehensive plan that has not been updated in 20 years. And this process will touch on issues I feel passionately about: economic development, fiscal responsibility, inclusivity, sustainability, and infrastructure. And we will discuss a number of these issues during the forum's Q&A, but I do not come in with a specific agenda or presuppose that I have all the answers. So it's important that I have a North Star, and for me, that's my set of principles that I put on my website that focus on diligence, collaboration, transparency, and stewardship. So to learn more, please visit justinforwilmette.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Dodd, you're going to take this question first, and then we'll go in the order that we were just speaking. I'll call on you each in turn. You don't need to remember. What do you consider the most pressing issues facing Wilmette today, and how will you address them as board trustee?
Thank you. That's a great question, and one I'm sure all the residents are very concerned about. I think we have 2 pressing issues facing the board. I should say we have many, but I would like to highlight 2. The first would be, which was mentioned in many of the opening statements, is our declining sales tax revenue and our increasing operating costs. I think this is a real problem for us, but I'm one that I'm confident we can address. I think all of us see many retail vacancies in our community, and many are concerned about Eden's Plaza being vacant, the recent Treasure Island space. And I think we have to really look at the changing landscape of the retail industry and what that means for our community and what we can be doing. I am hopeful that the redistribution of the sales tax at the state level is going to help us. That will allow some of the online sales that is happening within our community to come back to our community. So I'm hopeful that that's one area that we can look at. But that won't help us with the issue that we really need to focus on, which is trying to continue to attract new businesses into our community. And I'm excited about some of the things that our staff has started to do. The second thing that I think is another challenge, but probably a more difficult one, is what the post-pandemic looks like. And I don't know that we have the answer to that. People's behaviors will change. I think people will be doing different things. And I think that's something that the board's going to really have to address. I feel I'm very well suited for to address these issues because of my professional experience. I have a strong background in operational efficiency.
Thank you. Candidate Locke, you take the question next.
Thank you. I think without a doubt, our biggest concern right now is declining revenue. We've seen revenue declining over the past few years in, I think, essentially every category. And that's not currently a crisis, but if it is not addressed quickly and effectively, it's going to become a crisis. So I think the biggest, the first approach I would take to that is increasing of revenue specifically from businesses in the community. As I mentioned in my opening statement, attracting businesses to the community, I think, needs to be a very, very high priority. And I don't have all the answers on how to do that, but I would like to solicit input from the business community, find out what issues they have, what they think would make their work easier, what would make their lives easier, what would attract businesses to the community. Are there regulatory issues? Are there any systemic issues that the village might have that are preventing businesses from thriving here? And we need to address those as urgently as we can.
Thank you. Candidate Barrow, you're next.
Thank you. I think that you'll find that many of our answers are similar here because the challenges that we have are ones that we and our residents have all identified. Economic development is really essential both to our quality of life and to the maintenance of our tax base. To the extent we can continue to maintain and increase our sales tax base, we take pressure off our property tax, and that's a very valuable thing. That's a easier said thing to do than do because retail sales, at least brick and mortar, continue to be challenged and will be so in the future. Our internet sales last year were very strong, and as Trustee Dodd has identified, we expect in 2021, with the reallocation of internet sales tax, the village will benefit significantly. We are doing several things currently to help improve our retail position. We're working very closely with the owners of Eden's Plaza and a consultant to improve retail opportunities there. I know the village is helping the downtown area. A new coffee shop will be opening up shortly. We look forward to additional opportunities to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shepherd.
And I will agree, economic development is the most pressing issue for the village. Not only is it important to our sales tax revenues, but it's also important to the vibrancy of the community. It's where you run into your neighbors. It's where small businesses are formed. It's where jobs are had. And anything we can do to promote that, I think, is very important. As a member of the Plan Commission, I helped kick off the comprehensive planning process, and this was the first bullet point we put in the RFP that's currently out for bid. And I think we need to, again, not having all the answers now, but we need to think strategically. What are the anchors we could look at for different parts of town that hopefully we can build upon? We see how in the downtown, with the vibrant restaurant scene, how that's starting to build on itself, and the new coffee shop, as Peter just mentioned it. I think we could also spend time thinking further about how do we better market Wilmette. I was very heartened to see the past board's actions to support our businesses during the pandemic with the rebates. And I do think that will pay dividends in the future when businesses have to decide whether or not they want to locate in Wilmette. And further to that point, I think we have to make sure when a business wants to locate here, it's as easy to locate here as any of the neighboring communities. And we make sure it's a streamlined process and we work really well with those businesses as they get going. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Jaya.
Thank you. So we've talked a lot about the economic development issues, and I have no disagreement with what's been said on the importance of that. And the importance of continuing to support our local businesses, figuring out how to attract new businesses, and I think working with the Chamber of Commerce closely on those issues. I think we have to balance that with the fiscal challenges around our infrastructure needs. We have a large infrastructure project going on right now, and we have several more queued up behind it. And figuring out how to allocate our resources to that is going to be a real challenge for us coming out of the pandemic and with the other fiscal challenges we have. But I'd like to just mention also that we have some real opportunities and also some real challenges around other issues in our community. I think we need to really be factoring in also a lot of the environmental sustainability issues. There's a lot of issues around opening our community to more people to move in, around affordable housing, around making our community more welcoming. So I think that we need to continue, and the perspective that I bring is to, yes, absolutely, focus on the economic issues, but also to balance that with the other issues that our community, I think, is really interested in, and that also make our community vibrant and a place that people want to move to and that businesses will want to come to. Thanks.
Thank you. Candidate Locke, you take this question first. What, if any, capital projects will you prioritize, and how will you work to get them done?
Well, we briefly touched on the comprehensive plan and how that plan has not been updated for quite some time. So I think it might be a little bit premature for me to talk about capital projects. I mean, I can talk about things that I see in the village, but I don't know if those are the things that are the most pressing. I know that the stormwater project that's currently underway was something that was in the works for many years, and most capital projects do take quite a bit of time and planning. So I really think that what the village needs to do is really take a step back and reassess all of its capital needs for a long-term period, whether that's a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan, or whatever that might be. But that is I think the prudent way to prioritize capital projects, not just pet projects, but a long-term plan, so that you're looking at what is not just the next thing, but the thing after that, and the thing after that, and the thing after that. So I think that's the right approach to a capital plan. And I think this is the right time to look at that comprehensive plan and really make those decisions for the long term.
Thank you. Candidate Barrow?
Thank you. We've identified a few capital projects of particular importance. The first would be the stormwater project. We completed the first phase of that largely this summer on time and on budget. And we're working forward right now with the second stage over at Hibbard Park. It's important that we go forward and to complete the third stage at Thornwood Park later next year for the stormwater protection. I would also add that for capital projects of importance that affect us all, I would put a continued emphasis on road repair. We've neglected that somewhat over the years, and many of our roads are in need of repair and replacement. We also have, looking forward, and we've done planning for the major repair of our water plant and the replacement of our police station. Both of those are large capital projects, and we're working right now on how we will effect those and how we will finance those. I'm confident that we'll affect all of those. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shepherd?
Yes, in terms of infrastructure and capital projects, I think it always makes sense to have a long-term plan. And we have a number of projects that are currently underway. The streetscape plan in downtown, there's a little dust now causing a little angst, but hopefully by the summer, I think it's going to look great and business is going to be booming there. The stormwater plan, as Peter just highlighted, is well on its way, and it's coming in on budget and on time, and I'm really happy to see that. Things that still have to be spec'd out, the new police station, we have to figure out what we're going to do with that issue. The water plant and working on the intake upgrades that we need there. And then always the roads. We did get a little bit behind, and if we have extra reserves, I think it would be prudent to try and get a little more caught up in terms of the road maintenance. And then on top of that, we are going to want to pull in the master bike and active transportation plan into those discussions. The board just approved a great plan, but it's a conceptual plan that still needs feasibility studies and budgetary considerations. But I know a lot of us want to be able to get around the village in an easier and safer manner, particularly with our kids. And I think that that is something that we'll be focusing on over the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jaya?
So a sound infrastructure is one of the core responsibilities of village government. And I think our current village staff does a great job of looking ahead on what the needs will be, and then providing the village board with what the needs are, what the opportunities are, and allowing for a good discussion and for forward planning on this. What has been mentioned, I think, is absolutely what we see as the looming infrastructure needs. The stormwater plan that's ongoing and that has 2 more phases to complete. Obviously the water plant issues. The water plant generates more than $6 million worth of revenue for our village, serves 150,000 residents. And so that huge infrastructure project really can't be deferred for very long. And then the police station project. And the police station project, I think, really, that to me feeds into the comprehensive plan, because if we're going to go ahead and undertake a large infrastructure project around rebuilding our police station, then how does that fit into our long-term planning? How does that fit into how we think about the different commercial areas in our village and the different municipal areas, and how do we bring that all together? So I'd like to see some vision around that, and that I think is part of the comprehensive planning process. And then obviously the roads, and combining that with the planning around active bike and transportation, and making sure that when we do our road projects, we take that into consideration so that we're not doubling up on any of our infrastructure work.
Thank you. Candidate Dodd.
I concur with what all the rest of the candidates have said. I think that our capital projects, our most important ones are obviously our stormwater project, which we're very proud of, that it's been started, and we're making good progress on that. The water plant, planning for the roads, which, as you all know, the board has spent a lot of time over the last 3 or 4 years putting together a thoughtful plan to really address the severity of some of our roads and really try to tackle that, as well as the planning for the police station and our Central Streetscape project. So I don't want to kind of repeat what the rest of the candidates have said, just except to say I concur with all of them. So what I'd like to say is that what we do that's so important, and has been addressed briefly, is we have a capital improvement plan that's a 10-year forward-looking plan that really helps us be thoughtful as a board in terms of how we plan and invest in these projects. And I think that's the most important thing we can do in terms of making sure the board is looking at that on an ongoing basis, making sure we are thinking about how we're going to invest in these projects, how we're going to get the money for these projects, how we're going to do it successfully. And I support the work that the board has done and the staff has done tremendously to help us plan for that. And in the CIP, you will see things like the investment in the water plant, the investment in the police station, and a continued investment in our roads.
Thank you. Congressman Barrow, you take the next question first. I forgot to say earlier, if at any time you'd like me to repeat a question, just say so. What plans do you have to revitalize business areas outside of the central downtown area?
Several of the areas outside downtown, like 4th and Linden, for example, or where I live, closer to Treasure Island at Lake and Ridge, continue to be challenges in downtown for our economic development. We need to continue our efforts to reach out to potential businesses to locate there. Both of those areas are what we call neighborhood residential commercial districts. And I think one of the things that we should do, and I'm confident are doing, is reaching out to businesses that are particularly suited to serve those locations. They're locations where people live. So most desirable would be businesses that provide goods and services that can be used by folks that live nearby those places. We'll continue to reach out every way that we can and to make the zoning and permit process as easy as possible for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shepherd.
And I touched on this on one of the earlier questions, but I do think marketing these areas is really important in trying to find what can be anchors for these areas and taking a step back and really evaluating them and understanding what is the highest and best use for them. And maybe the mix of residential to retail isn't quite perfect, and we may be able to encourage some changes there. Some of these areas have struggled for a bit, and I think we have to take a big step back. The comprehensive plan process is a really ideal opportunity to do so and talk to industry experts, educate ourselves, see what's happening in other similar villages, and see what we can do to support the businesses in those areas on a going forward basis. Thank you.
Candidate Jaya.
So I agree with that. I live pretty close to 4th and Linden's downtown area. And obviously that's an area that has struggled for a while. And it would be great to really take, as candidate Shepherd said, a step back in the comprehensive planning process and really think through some of the best and highest uses of this space and really look at also our housing development issues and how those relate to commercial development. How do we attract people from our lakefront to come into our downtown areas, not just our village center, but our other downtown areas? And also, how do we really look at the Edens Plaza area? And I know that the village is working with a consultant to really think through what retail works best in the Edens Plaza area, and that might be very different. I'd like to add one other issue. I think we really need to look at our vacant-ish storefront issues. Vacant storefronts are problematic for lots of reasons, revenue, but also just in terms of how they make different commercial areas in our village feel. And I think we really need to understand where we have storefronts that have stayed vacant for longer periods of time, what kind of landlord issues do we have, and what are the opportunities for the village to figure out how we get commercial spaces filled, and how do we consider that through our zoning process?
Thank you. Candidate Dodd.
I think our comprehensive plan is going to be the most important thing we look at to help us address this issue. And I'm excited that the board is going to soon be getting proposals on this so we can really get this effort started. And the comprehensive plan in specific is going to look at some of our underutilized or commercial areas. And I would put Linden obviously in that. I would put the Ridge corridor in that. And I would even put maybe Plaza del Lago in that to some degree. And so I'm looking forward to the listening sessions we're going to do with residents, with business owners, and people outside of the community as well, to really help us understand what we can do to better attract people into those areas. And so my first priority would be that we really let the comprehensive plan help us decide how we can go forward. The second thing I'd say has been addressed as well a little bit, but Edens Plaza and what we can learn from there. So I'm very excited about the fact that we've hired a consultant to help us. And our focus there really needs to be to get 1 or 2 anchor stores, because once you get those anchor stores in place, I think it's going to really help that particular area get more developed. And I'm excited about the opportunities that the staff has started to pursue in terms of possibilities. And then thirdly, I'd say I feel good about the fact that we've got a new owner at Plaza del Lago. And I think that developer at some point will really have some great suggestions for us to help revitalize that area.
Thank you. Candidate Locke. Unmute.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
I was trying. So I think what everybody said here is excellent. I mean, everyone's, I think, on the track, same kind of track that I'm on. The 2 areas that I first think of are Linden Square, which is close to where I live, and of course, Edens Plaza. And I know that there's been a lot of energy and attention paid to elite Edens Plaza and what's going on there. So that's all good news. And I think perhaps a similar maybe a tailored approach to Linden Square might also be appropriate. The thing that I think of trying to tie a couple things together here is what kinds of businesses would be in demand and what kinds of businesses would people want to see and what kind of businesses would be viable. I think those are important considerations. And kind of going along with what Peter said, if we were able to, I'm sorry, I apologize, what Justin said, if we were able to, have that input from the community and from the businesses about what kinds of things would be in demand and would be viable, and then make a targeted search, if at all possible, perhaps a marketing campaign to try to find those businesses to bring into the community. I think that's an approach that might work.
Thank you. Candidate Shepard, you take this next question first. What are the affordable housing opportunities within Wilmette, and how will you advance the goals of the affordable housing plan?
Yeah, the affordable housing opportunities in front of us are strong. It's something I believe in very strongly. I would be very happy to see the new Housing Commission that's been reconstituted. I've had the opportunity to talk to a number of people on that committee and people who do things in other similar committees. And I feel we have the right people who are looking at this. They have the right subject matter expertise. They have the right passion for the mission. And I think we have some things to build on. It's come up earlier that the Cleveland Place development, where we'll have 16 units of affordable housing, the first project in the village that isn't affordable housing for older people. This will be open to all ages. As part of the Optima building approval, they made a $1.6 million contribution to a housing fund that will be administered by SEPA to build 14 units across the village of affordable housing. And I think we'll have opportunities as we continue to develop. And I think it's very important because I think it increases the density of our village, which helps our businesses. It increases the diversity of our village, which helps everybody be more rounded people. And I think these partnerships are a really good way to go with these outside organizations, again, like the HODC and SEPA. So, and I think this also is going to factor very strongly into the comprehensive plan that we're currently working on. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jaya.
So let me start by being really clear on my position on affordable housing. Our village does not have enough affordable housing units available, and we really need to make this an area of focus. Affordable housing is a critical component of making our community a more welcoming community. It allows the single parent to keep their children in our excellent school system. It allows a differently abled person to remain in the village where they have their support structures. It allows people who work in our community to live close to where they work. And so affordable housing really needs to be a focus of ours. We have some interesting models that are that have started in our village. We have the large-scale development, which is all affordable. We have the Optima development, which is providing money for a land trust so that affordable housing units are scattered throughout our community. And I think that that's an interesting model as well. And then we can also look at large-scale development units that have affordable housing units in them. So there's lots of different models available to us. And what I'll be looking to, if I was a trustee, would be to our newly reformed Housing Commission, which has terrific members on it, and that can really provide some expertise as to how we think about this affordable housing issues. And also our staff. Our village staff is really committed to this, I believe, and they are constantly looking for opportunities for affordable housing. So I think that relying on our village staff and our Housing Commission to help provide us guidance on this will be really important.
Thank you. Candidate Dodd.
I agree with some of the things that candidate Jaya just said, which is affordable housing is a really important issue in front of our community. And it is one that helps us make our community more welcoming and helps us keep younger families in the community or bring them into the community so they can afford to be here. It also helps keep our older residents, some of our parents who want to stay in the community because that's where their grandchildren are. So I just think it's something that's really important. And I'm so glad we got this question because I'm super excited about it because I think we finally have some positive momentum here. I shouldn't say finally, but we do have a lot of positive momentum here. As many of you might know, I was just chair of the administration committee, and we've started, finally have gotten our Housing Commission up and running. We've got an incredibly talented group of individuals on that commission, and I think they're going to lead our efforts. I think they're going to come up with some really creative ideas, some wonderful solutions. They're very diverse, and I think they're going to really help guide the board. Obviously, some of the previous candidates have talked about our Cleveland Place project. I'm very excited about that, as well as our recent our recent relationship that we formed with community partners for affordable housing. So I think those are two great, exciting projects. But I'd like to just end by saying that I think that what the Housing Commission is going to really help us with is do a housing needs assessment to really understand where our affordable housing gaps are, and they're going to help lead our efforts around affordable housing for our comprehensive plan. And I'm really excited about that effort, and I'm really looking forward to their input.
Thank you. Candidate Locke.
Thank you. I really just want to tie this in and emphasize why I think affordable housing is a very important issue for Wilmette, and that is it goes back to revenue generation, and it goes back to being business friendly. In the manufacturing industry, I can speak to this, working in the Chicagoland area for the last 20 years, especially in the last few years recently, staffing and finding enough candidates to fill positions has been incredibly challenging. And I don't mean in white collar positions, I mean in every position. So I think that one of the things we really have to look at in terms of attracting businesses to Wilmette is, are they going to be able to find employees who are going to be able to get to work easily, show up on time, and put in the work? And without that piece of the pie, or without that piece of the puzzle, those businesses are going to struggle in Wilmette. So I think that's something that needs to be considered. We need to look at what the needs are for affordable housing. We need to take an analytical approach to it, make sure that the housing is adequate to meet the needs of the businesses that we want to attract or keep, and make sure that we work together to make that happen.
Thank you. Congressman Barrow.
We've had some success in affordable housing in Wilmette, but we're about to open a new chapter for affordable housing. Optima will provide a payment to Wilmette of $1.6 million with additional contributions that will be leveraged by community partners for affordable housing for a significant amount of money. We'll be able to utilize our partnership with community partners to put in place a rental and an equity model for affordable housing. It's been done successfully in Highland Park. It's been used successfully in Lake Forest, and I'm confident it will be successful here. Our Housing Commission will be committed to working with community partners and working with the village staff and the board to create appropriate programs and to oversee what we do for affordable housing to assure that we're successful. And I'm confident that this will be an entirely new day for the success for our affordable housing.
Thank you. Do I keep promoting you? Do I keep saying Congressman? I don't know
You
what.
do,
Yes.
you do, and I've wanted to correct you, but it sounds so good.
It's just, and in my brain, because Joel put something in the chat, I'm like, don't say Congressman, don't say Congressman. So of course, that's what I should just promote everyone. So
Well, I need to get elected here first.
I don't know. Some people try to go straight to the top, but I don't disagree with you. All right, I'm going to give everybody just 30 seconds for this because I'm backing it off. I should just promote everyone. So President Jaya, would you take only 30 seconds here? What have you done to prepare yourself to serve on the village board?
In 30 seconds. All right. So I have worked, as I think I mentioned in my opening statement, for more than 10 years in our community on all kinds of issues, and really advocated for different issues in front of all the different governing boards in our community. I have worked, as I said, on affordable housing issues, on environmental issues, on gun violence prevention issues. I have really tried to help to make our community a better and more welcoming and more inclusive place. And that is what I hope to bring to a trustee if I'm elected.
Thank you. Chief Justice Dodd, 30 seconds.
Wow. Okay. First, I'd say that the biggest way I've prepared myself is I'm a current trustee. So I already have relationships with our staff and with many of our other board members throughout the other school board and park board. But what I'd like to say is what's so great about contested elections like this is the opportunity to talk to residents and business owners. And so what I think I've done to help prepare myself is I've talked to a lot of people. In fact, I can't believe how many people I've talked to, but I've learned a lot. I understand what are some of the issues in front of the residents, and I'm going to take those ideas to the board next year, I hope. Sorry, so fast.
I know. I'm just trying to get us back us into the timing that we have to have. All right, Senator Locke.
Thank you. I feel like I have a lot more preparation to do, but I have spent a lot of time looking at really exciting things like budgets and comprehensive plans and meeting minutes to find out what's been going on and where the village is going. I've spent a lot of time talking to some people who have been involved in village business, who've been involved in the community, finding out what their concerns are, and just picking up as much information as I can. Like I said, I have a long way to go.
Thank you. Mayor Barrow.
Thank you. I'm currently on our village board, and prior to that served for 10 years on our transportation and plan commission. I've lived in Wilmette for upwards of 4 decades, and I know our village well. I've spent a lot of time walking around the block with my golden retriever, And when I do, I talk to people, young and old, and through that, you learn what's on people's minds. I've encouraged people to reach out to me as a trustee by phone, by email, and I'll continue to do so as a trustee.
Thank you. UN Secretary General Shepherd.
Thank you very much. I'm going to put it in 3 phases. First, I think my life experience in terms of the board work I've done and my professional experience have brought me here. More recently, as a member of the Wilmette Plan Commission, meeting people across the village who are working on issues, working on projects. And during this campaign, I've talked to so many people around town, to so many business owners, and I've attended as many meetings as possible that are currently going on in the village government. And in the future, really the selfish reason to do this is a lifetime of learning. And I look forward to having the opportunity to learn about a myriad of topics going forward.
Thank you. Candidate Dodd, you'll be the first one to give your summation. I'll remind everyone you have 60 seconds. Candidate Dodd.
Thank you. All right, thank you again to the League for this wonderful opportunity to speak in front of you. Clearly, I think you all heard we have some dedicated and talented candidates here. And thank you to the candidates as well for joining me in this forum. I hope we were able to answer all your questions and I was able to answer all your questions. If you'd like more information about me, please visit my website at kathydoddforwilmette.com, or you can email me at kathydoddforwilmette@gmail.com. I've really enjoyed my first 4 years on the board, and I hope to have 4 more years to serve all of you. I feel I'm the right candidate to be reelected for several reasons. I'm experienced. I've served on the board for 4 years. I have a proven track record by our strong financial position, our vibrant downtown, our excellence in delivery of core services. And finally, I've been a leader on the board. I've continued to bring a thoughtful, open-minded, and collaborative approach, and I've spent lots of time talking to residents throughout the community about their issues. I'm hoping you'll support me. I feel I'm the right candidate, and if you feel I'm the right candidate, please consider putting up a sign and spreading the word about my candidacy.
Thank you. Candidate Locke.
Thank you again to the League and to everyone listening. And I think that people listening are going to have a very tough time here, because what you hear is you hear a lot of people who really understand the village, and you have a lot of people who basically agree on what the priorities need to be. And I think you got 5 candidates who, if we're all on the board together, I think that we'd all work very nicely together to make these decisions. So I don't envy the decision that has to be made here. What I would like to say is that the approach that I intend to bring is a highly analytical, problem-solving, just a really detailed look at the issues, and really just try to understand how everything fits together and be practical and get input from the community on what needs to be done. But the good news is, I think that the future of Wilmette is very bright with our current situation and with the candidates that we have here. Thank you.
Candidate Barrow.
Whether you're new to Wilmette or a longtime resident, think about why you chose to live here and why you stayed here. I'm confident your list would include beautiful homes, a vibrant downtown, a village government that responds promptly to its residents, and a welcoming community of neighbors and friends. Preserving and growing that Wilmette is the job of our board. We've done that by spending our tax dollars carefully, preserving our resources, long-term planning, and a commitment to keeping Wilmette affordable, safe, and desirable. If reelected, I pledge to continue that, to be independent, and to continue the work of the board. I'm Peter Barrow. I'm first on the ballot and easy to find. I ask for your early vote from March 22nd to April 5th, or on election day, April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Shepherd.
And thank you again to the League for having me. Over the last few months, I've had the opportunity to meet so many people during this campaign. And I do feel my message has resonated, and I'm proud that the last 3 village presidents are supporting me. And I believe it is my experience that people are responding to, and that experience is ideal for Wilmette right now. My experience in finance and investment management taught me the importance of doing deep due diligence and of creating a long-term plan. My experience helping grow a business from 6 to 130 employees taught me how to motivate people, how to listen, and how to create systems that work. My experience on boards and investment committees has taught me how to work through hard decisions and build consensus in a collaborative fashion. My experience in public and philanthropic service has taught me empathy. And my experience on the Wilmette Plan Commission has taught me a lot about Wilmette, its wonderful staff, how it works, and the great volunteers across the village. So I think my experience can help Wilmette thrive. I'm Justin Shepard. I am number 2 on the ballot. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jaya.
Thanks again to the League of Women Voters and to all the other candidates today. I think we've learned a lot. Beyond sharing my perspective on some of the specific issues that we've talked about today, I wanted to talk about what you can expect from me as a village trustee if I'm elected. The first thing you can count on from me is nonpartisanship. Local government is one of the last places where elected officials can be truly nonpartisan, and I'm really dedicated to keeping it that way. The second thing you could expect from me is transparency and good governance, not just committing to the letter of the law, but to the spirit of conducting the village's business in full view of the public, with a real effort made to solicit opinions of all kinds. And the third thing you can always expect from me is civility. We're going to disagree at times, but as anyone who has worked with me knows, I am at all times respectful of other people's opinions. And I think it's incumbent on elected officials to model the very best of civil discourse. So I'm hopeful I have the opportunity to serve you as village trustee, and I'm asking for your vote. You can also learn more about me at www.katejaya.com. Please remember to either vote early starting on March 22nd or on Election Day, April 6th.
Thank you. On behalf of the 229 people who are on this call right now, I applaud all of you for sticking your necks out and running for office. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the Park Commissioner Forum, which will start at 10:40.